Emotional eating isn't about food at all. It's about safety. Food just happens to be the quickest way the body knows how to soften. Long before food was nutrition, it was regulation. So when you reach for something to eat, when you're overwhelmed, it isn't weakness. It's your nervous system remembering the first place it ever felt held. For some children, food was the only thing they could control. Not emotions, not the house, not the adults, just this: what you ate, when you ate, how much. So control around food isn't vanity, it's protection. It's a child inside you whispering, "At least this part is mine." What's wrong with me? Why can't I control my appetite? I hear this all the time, but appetite isn't a character flaw. It's a nervous system signal. Sometimes the body isn't asking for food at all. It's asking for comfort, grounding, company. And food is simply the fastest answer available. Nothing is wrong with you. Your body is trying to soothe itself the only way it learned how. Food was the only comfort no one judged. Crying was too much. Anger wasn't allowed. Needing reassurance felt inconvenient. But food was acceptable. So it becomes the only safe way to self-soothe. And slowly, quietly, food becomes the place you go when you really just want to be held. Sometimes you're not hungry, you're lonely. There's a difference. Hunger is in the stomach, loneliness is in the chest, but they can feel strangely similar, empty. So the body reaches for food when what it really wants is warmth, presence, someone beside you. It's not lack of discipline, it's the nervous system saying, "Please don't leave me alone with this feeling." Why does eating feel tense? Like there's pressure, rules, watchfulness, like someone is slightly judging every bite. For many of us, food was never neutral. It carried tone, mood, approval, disappointment. So the body learned eating isn't just eating, it's performance. And decades later, that old tension still lives in your chest, not because you're dramatic, but because your nervous system remembers. Emotional eating doesn't become chronic overnight. It starts small, one moment where food softened something, lonely, overwhelmed, unheld, and your body noticed this helps. So it remembers, not as a thought, as a reflex. So the next time life feels too much, your hand moves before your mind does. Not because you're weak, because the nervous system always returns to the first place it ever felt safe. Over time, it looks like lack of control, but really it's an old survival strategy still trying to protect you. Sometimes food is how we learned to be good. Finish your plate. Don't fuss. Don't want too much. Be easy. So appetite becomes performance, small, polite, convenient. You weren't managing food. You were managing belonging, trying to stay loved, trying not to be too much. And those patterns don't vanish when you grow up. They just follow you to the table. Healing is learning you don't have to earn your place here. You already belong. Before food was nutrition, it was regulation. Before calories, there was comfort. Before choice, there was attunement. Your nervous system didn't first learn food as fuel. It learned warmth, presence, being held, safety, survival. So if eating feels emotional now, it isn't irrational. It isn't weakness, it's ancient. Your body remembering the very first way it ever felt safe. Most emotional eating isn't about comfort, it's about attachment. The body isn't asking, "Am I hungry?" It's asking, Am I alone? Am I safe? Is anyone here? Food just happens to be the fastest thing that says, I'm here. Not everyone reaches for food. Some people forget to eat entirely. Coffee, momentum, numbness. But that isn't discipline. It's functional freeze. When the system is overwhelmed, appetite shuts down because feeling hunger means feeling something. And sometimes that's already too much. As a baby, feeding wasn't just milk. It was eye contact, tone, touch, timing. It was the first place your body learned, when I need, will someone come. Your relationship with food started there, not in adulthood, not with willpower, but right there. Sometimes binging isn't excess, it's longing, the body trying to recreate something it barely remembers, warmth, soothing, someone steady nearby. It's not lack of control, it's a child trying to feel held. Restriction sometimes gets praised, disciplined, good, strong, but often it's fear. If I need less, I'm safer. If I'm small, I won't be too much. If I don't feel hunger, I don't have to feel something. That's not strength. That's protection. The mother wound isn't only emotional, it's somatic. It shows up in appetite, fullness, shame, permission to receive. Because your first experience of being met happened through feeding, so food becomes the echo of that story. Diets assume behaviour, but trauma lives in the nervous system. You can't discipline your way out of a survival response. If food became safety, taking it away feels like danger, so the body rebels, not because you failed, because it's trying to protect you. Night eating is rarely about hunger. It's often loneliness. When the world goes quiet, the inner child gets louder. Food becomes company, grounding, something warm in the dark, not a flaw, but a substitute for connection. Some people didn't learn food as comfort. They learned tension. The dinner table wasn't warm. It was quiet, or loud, or unpredictable. Arguments, silence, walking on eggshells, eating fast or not at all, because your body wasn't asking, am I hungry? It was asking, is it safe right now? Food can't feel soothing when the table felt like a battlefield. Some children didn't get fed because they were feeding everyone else. Cooking, serving, cleaning, making sure everyone was okay, becoming useful before you were allowed to just be little. So food wasn't nourishment, it was responsibility, caretaking, pressure, and later in life it still shapes the way you eat because no one ever taught you that you mattered at the table too. If you grew up feeling too sensitive, too needy, too emotional, you might learn to suppress your appetite too, because hunger is need, and needing once cost you connection. So the body whispers, better not want too much. For some children, food was the only time mother felt soft. No criticism, no tension, no emotional volatility, just quiet. So the body remembers food equals safety, food equals love. Of course that's hard to let go. It was the only refuge. In freeze, digestion slows, interoception dulls, hunger disappears, not because you're fine, because the nervous system went dim. You're not hungry and you're not fully here. That's a nervous system state, not your personality. Some people don't struggle with hunger, they struggle with fullness, because fullness means slowing down, letting go, dropping your guard. And if your nervous system grew up braced, even satisfaction can feel threatening. So you stop early or feel guilt or never quite finish, not because you're dramatic, because calm never felt safe. When you stand in front of the fridge at night, it isn't just hunger, it's memory, not mental memory, body memory. The memory of reaching and not being met, so the body reaches again for something that can't leave. Food doesn't abandon you. That's why it's hard to resist. I shouldn't want this. I don't deserve this. I'll be good tomorrow. Listen to the language. That's not hunger logic. That's shame logic. That's when a child learned wanting causes trouble. So appetite becomes something to apologize for, something to hide. And even when you try to stop, it feels familiar, so it repeats. You watched your mother diet, you watched her skip meals and call herself bad, promise to be smaller tomorrow, and maybe her mother did the same. Scarcity, survival, women learning to take up less space, and without anyone saying it out loud, you inherited the rule: want less, need less, eat less. So food becomes the place that old story keeps living. Before you ever dieted, you were watching. Magazines on the table, TV ads about summer bodies, women praised for being smaller, girls teased for being bigger. You learned early, smaller equals safer, lighter equals lovable, hungry is wrong. So appetite started to feel suspicious, like something to control, not trust. And you think it's your voice, but it was taught to you. Some children were praised for finishing everything, being easy, not fussing, not asking for more. Good girl. So the plate became a test. Love equals compliance. And even now, you might keep eating long after you're full, just so no one feels disappointed, because somewhere inside, you're still trying to be good. If you eat in secret, hide wrappers, wait until everyone's asleep, it's rarely greed, it's safety. A child who learned, my needs aren't welcome in the open, so you wait until it's quiet, until no one's watching, and only then you eat. That's not shameful. It's protective. Notice when you eat with a screen on, TV, phone, noise, distraction, company, because silence can feel like abandonment. So the nervous system surrounds itself with something, anything that feels less alone, including food. The advice says meal prep, discipline, consistency, try harder, be stricter, have more willpower. But you can't discipline a survival response. Trauma doesn't respond to plans, it responds to safety. If your body doesn't feel safe, no structure will stick, because survival always outranks strategy. Regulation first, then behaviour changes on its own. Some people genuinely can't feel hunger or fullness or thirst, not just sometimes, often, and not because they're careless, because their body learned to go quiet. This is called interoception. It's how we sense ourselves from the inside, and trauma can dim it, because if sensation once meant danger, the nervous system turns the volume down, so the cues disappear, not because you're disconnected, because once you had to be. When someone says, I can't trust myself around food, what they often mean is I never learned how to feel safe in my own body. So eating feels risky, out of control, like something might go wrong, not because you're weak, because trust was never built. Real trust doesn't come from rules. It comes from moments like, I feel hunger, I respond, nothing bad happens. That's nervous system trust, not willpower. Control can feel comforting, counting, tracking, managing every bite, because control mimics safety. If no one protected you, you learned to protect yourself through rules, through tightness, through being good. It makes sense, but control is heavy. Care is lighter. Healing is learning the difference. Nobody is bad with food. There are only bodies that learned different ways to survive. Some reach, some restrict, some numb, some control. None of that is a flaw. It's intelligence, it's protection. It's a younger you doing whatever it took to feel safe. Maybe those patterns don't fit your life now, but once they kept you alive, thank the protection first. Then you can gently teach your body something new. Sometimes it helps to imagine there's a small version of you sitting at the table too, not asking for perfection, not asking you to get it right, just quietly asking, will you stay with me while I eat? Healing isn't really about managing food. It's about not leaving yourself alone with it. Healing your relationship with food isn't about control. It's about safety. When the inner child feels met, hunger becomes simple again, not urgent, not shameful, not loaded. Just, I'm hungry, so you eat. That's regulation, not willpower. Food was never meant to carry this much meaning. It was meant to be ordinary, simple, just food. Healing doesn't mean you never struggle. It means food slowly stops being love, shame, company, control, and goes back to being just food. And you go back to being just you, safe, fed, enough. Some people don't taste their food. They rush, finish quickly, barely breathe, because once meals weren't safe places to linger. They were tense or watched or unpredictable. So the body learned, eat fast, get out. Safety first, savouring later. Notice how your body keeps eating even after you're full. Not because you're greedy, because somewhere inside, waste is bad, be grateful, finish everything, was love language. So stopping feels wrong, even when your body is done. Sometimes you're not binging, you're disappearing. Half the food is gone and you barely remember eating. That's not lack of control, that's dissociation. The body's going somewhere safer while the hands keep moving. Sometimes the hardest part isn't eating, it's the 5 minutes after. The guilt, the self-talk, the promises to do better tomorrow. That spiral isn't lack of discipline, it's an old voice you inherited. It's not your truth. Some people don't relax when they eat. They scan. Who's watching? Who's judging? How do I look? Because early on, being seen meant risk. So even now, your body stays alert, not nourished, not present. For some children, food wasn't nourishment, it was currency. Good meant a treat, bad it was withheld. So eating becomes moral, deserving, undeserving, and hunger gets tangled with worth. I'll be good tomorrow. I'll reset Monday or after my birthday or Christmas. That cycle isn't laziness. It's shame trying to bargain because punishment feels familiar, but safety is what actually changes behaviour. Sometimes eating small wasn't about weight. It was about invisibility, smaller appetite, smaller presence, smaller needs, because taking up less space felt safer than being noticed. Notice how different eating feels with someone who's gentle. You slow down, you breathe, you taste. Because safety is contagious, the nervous system co-regulates, and you were never meant to always eat alone. When the nervous system feels safe, food is quiet. No debate, no drama, no bargaining. Just hungry, eat, done. Nothing heroic, just ordinary. And that is healing. Healing isn't perfect eating. It's this. You sit, you stay, you eat. You don't rush, you don't disappear. You're here at the table and in your body. And finally, you're not leaving yourself. If this video has felt familiar, if you've seen yourself in these patterns, this is the work I do every day. Emotional recalibration therapy is a trauma-informed healing immersion, blending hypnotherapy, somatic practice, and inner child work to gently restore regulation and rebuild self-trust from the inside out, not through willpower, not through control, but by teaching your body that safety is allowed now, that calm is possible, that you don't have to manage everything alone. If you feel ready, you're welcome to book a discovery call. I work in person and online. You don't have to carry this by yourself. You're not too much. You're not broken. You're becoming. Thank you for watching.